And nothing ever changes. You need to do that. Oh, I actually remembered to turn YouTube on. So we are live.
Are we? We got 8 people in here.
But not yet. Oh, do we have 8 people watching?
8? I see 8 next to the eye.
It's not even us because it doesn't count us. There we go.
Down to 7.
Nice.
Once we go live, come on. I want to see it on my YouTube first down here on my phone. Okay, it's all saying.
How about you, Joey? How about you?
I'm getting emails and updates that we're going live.
Up,
there
Trey?
we go. All righty. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 80. We're back, baby. How's everybody doing?
Man.
And for all the listeners out there, I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks. We have Mr. Matt Wackerle with Wackey Works. And the sticky guy. It's a sticky guy, Mr. Mustache.
Mr. Mustache.
We will be referring to Mr. Mustache as Mr. Mustache or Mustachio, so we don't get the two Matts confused. But before we get going, I just wanted to explain to everybody, y'all see that we don't have the normal podcast crew on. As we're moving forward now, this is going to be the host here, Matt with Wackey Works, Mr. Mustache, the new addition. Jake, Jamie, and Jen got busy with their own platforms, and they decided to move forward and utilize their time pursuing that. As we hate to see them go, it had to happen. They needed to spend more time on their own pages, and we're going to try to keep it going. So that's what's going to happen. Matt, do you have anything you want to add to it?
No, I mean, if you look at it, cartoons on Saturday morning cartoons with Jake and Jamie over there, they're completely busy constantly over there. And Jen's got her own line where she's printing stuff out. She just doesn't have time to be here. So it made sense, but we needed to find somebody else to fill that spot. Come on in with us. And that's what we did. We're going to continue to move forward and try to bring you guys a show. So,
yeah.
I am not going to bring you a show today. Today, I'm going to bounce out here shortly. I have the sticky icky in my nose and my chest and stuff. So I'm going to bounce out of here. But Mr. Mustache, how are you feeling about being in here?
I am feeling good. I got some big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta represent 3 people. So, yeah, I will do my best. Glad to be on here with you guys.
Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. Well, we got a special guest tonight. We're going to bring him up and we're going to add him to the stage. We got Mr. Keith with Blackthorn Concepts, also a host of
Working Hands Podcast.
No, I know, but you froze up and I was like, uh-oh. I was like,
I thought he froze up.
Not already. I thought he was full of Dave Miller. It was just like, oh, okay, bye. No, Keith is with Working Hands Podcast, and we wanted to bring him on today to talk about their yearly competition, Make What You Fear. So we're going to do that. And Mr. Wackerle, I guess you're going to say your goodbyes because we don't want to hear you sniffling, sneezing.
Hello, Keith, and goodbye, y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Later,
I hope y'all have a good man. Y'all have a good one.
Later.
See you.
All right, Keith, you want to just stay in this format here? Or you want me to put you on the big screen? How would you like?
This is fine. I don't need a big screen.
Okay. All right. We'll go back to it. So, Keith, thank you, bud, for hanging out with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And if anybody out in the chat have any questions for Keith, just put them in there and Mustache will bring them up. But we're going to start it off, Keith. Why don't you explain to us what Make What You Fear is and, just give us a roundabout deal about it. We got an hour, so go in.
An hour? Oh, dear.
Real deep. Really?
So Tony, my co-host over on the Working Hands Podcast, came up with the challenge of Make What You Fear a few years ago. I think this is year 4. But it's a challenge with a different prompt each year, and it's to get you to get out of your comfort zone and try some new stuff. And this year's prompt is to make something out of 3 separate materials. And it needs to be 8 cubic feet or less. That's a weird requirement, but 8 cubic feet or less. There's a gray area in that. Oh, and fasteners don't really matter. So if you use a screw, that's not considered metal for your.
Yeah, y'all were kind of talking about it when I was listening to y'all's podcast this week, right? This past one, where we were talking. You were trying to figure out on the table because like there's an empty void down there, and how y'all would go about that.
Yeah,
and
so
that
the
kind
8
of question what I was doing, I was like, come on, dude. I was like, oh man, here we go.
Cubic feet thing is we want things to be manageable because we got friends down in Texas that do some pretty huge projects with this thing, and they were scaring some people off last year. So we figure we scale it down to like 8 cubic feet, and obviously we're not going to be able to hold your item to hold a tape measure to it, but you could in theory get a little creative with the 8 cubic feet, a little bit. Like if you're making a table, obviously that if you encompass the area that's under the void that's under the table as part of your 8 cubic feet, then that's going to be a small table. So depending on how the legs are constructed, you could build the table in 8 cubic feet, depending on how you measure what your product is.
I could see Mr. Mustache eyes, his little squirrel turning. He's like,
basically, if you could have 4 legs on a table and then a tabletop, it's not 8 cubic feet for most tables, right? Because the top is going to be with the apron maybe 4 or 5 inches deep, and then each leg, depending on how thick each leg is, going to be another cubic foot maybe for each one, 2 cubic feet for each one. So unless you're doing a trestle style table, it's gonna be hard to get to 8 cubic feet. But don't stress over the 8 cubic feet. 3 different materials, like wood is just wood, not 3 different species of wood. The only caveat to that though is metal. Metal's metal. It doesn't matter what metal it is, unless it's a precious metal like gold or silver, can be its own material. And then you got like fabrics and plastics and leather.
Yep.
There's plenty of materials you can use.
yeah,
But fasteners and finish don't count as additional materials.
yeah. I mean, it's just you gotta get going and just make it. Don't let one project, because I've heard it many a times on Keith's podcast. People were kind of getting discouraged because last year I did that addition to the office that you see behind me, and they're like, how can we compete against that? Well, it's not. It's supposed to challenge you to see to make you do things that you would ordinarily do. Bring that creativity out of you.
Wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah, wouldn't. Right. Wouldn't ordinarily do. And it's not about who's building what. If they're building some fine furniture, it doesn't matter. Just do it. At least it'll get you out of that shell. It'll make you do things that you haven't done before. It's a cool competition. And if you end up winning, the bragging rights that you get, who cares about the giveaway or anything? The bragging rights alone for winning that competition, because you're going up against some awesome makers out there in the community. And I tell you what, they bring it. But don't let that discourage you. I for once, and I've told Keith this, I had no, when I did this project last year, I didn't do it to win. I did it to force me to get it done.
Because I wanted to win.
Well, I mean, if I would have, I wouldn't, it'd have been cool. But, it wasn't, it's that 3-month time frame. And that was a big project to do to try to get it done. And I tell you what, when I was done, like done. I don't think I really did anything the rest of the year. I mean, it took it all out of me. But I got it done, and it's cool though. But you see all the things that all the other makers are doing out there, and it's pretty magnificent. Some of this creativity that comes out of that challenge.
We
Yeah.
try and keep the prompt vague, right? So like this year is just 3 materials and then 8 cubic feet. Like that's pretty much your only limiting factors, right? You have to use at least 3 materials and be 8 cubic feet or less. And the rest is up to you. So we always get some wild ideas coming in. So it's always pretty interesting.
Yep. Okay, Scott.
Oh.
Yeah, 'cause there's
Scott
also
asked Matt a question. He says, I'd like an update on Mr. Mustache's progress in his Make What You Fear project.
Yeah,
this year.
Mr. Mustache has not started his Make What You Fear project yet. However, I have an idea. And Keith and I were talking a little while back, and I might double down like we were talking. And
Good. Then you get something made from my shop.
there you go. Well, you have to win it. You have to win it.
What?
Oh.
No, we laid down a separate challenge for you, Matt.
Oh, yes.
This is not related. I mean, it is related to Make What You Fear, but it's not.
Yes.
Matt is an avid procrastinator. It's probably one of his best features. And our buddy Victor Wim has Wim Designs. He laid down a challenge for you about who's going to get their CNC up and running first, you or him. And then I said, if Matt gets his up and running in the time frame of Make What You Fear and completes a Make What You Fear project, I will make something personally for Matt.
Yes, I forgot about that.
So yeah,
we weren't going to let you forget it. There was no way we were going to
double down.
Yeah. I just thought you were just waiting like usual, just a week 2, and then give it hell. Try to get it done.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I have an idea.
You know how? Well, I'm not gonna mess with you too much on the first show because I don't want to get you flustered. Because it's like, or second show we should say, because it's like, I kind of heard that before, and then stuff gets stuck.
I wish I had a Superman shirt on under this, and I could just rip it open.
What was your plan for your Make What You Fear project?
For me?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do a chessboard.
Chessboard.
Ooh.
What 3 materials you going with?
Epoxy, wood, and I might do brass.
Ooh, nice.
I might do brass for the because I want to do drawers for the chess pieces and stuff. I don't know if I'll buy the chess pieces or if, I don't know. I was thinking about 3D printing them, but I don't know. They wouldn't have the heft, I feel like, with the chess piece.
Well, Tony and I have ruled, just so you know, that polymers, like plastics, 3D printing, epoxy is all under polymers. That's one material.
Okay.
So you can 3D print and do epoxy. That's fair.
Yep.
But you can only count that as one material.
Oh, and that's fine.
Yeah. It's easy to hit.
See, but you could do like chess. Yeah. Because wood, then you got 3D print, and then the brass. That's 3 materials.
Yeah,
but you can give your chess pieces some heft by making round or something out of wood or even brass and mounting the 3D printed item on top of that.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad idea.
I've had a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, 3 materials. I can't figure out how to do 3 materials. Like I've seen you make like 20 frames in the past week. Like that's wood, glass, right? And mat board. Like,
yep.
It's so easy to hit 3 materials. Like this should be the
simple.
Easiest. Everyone should be able to compete in this one. And that was our goal. was to have everyone be able to participate in this one.
Yeah, like I'm gonna use of course wood. I'm gonna use acrylic. I'm gonna use leather, and I mean anything else that I add into it that I decide to will be a pretty easy. I've already met the materials. I just gotta get it done, figure out the final. I mean, it pretty much set up what I want. It's just now getting it done because we're already halfway past the first month, so it's gonna go quick.
Yep.
Yeah, it ends on March 30th, not March 31st, March 30th. And the way to enter is you must invite Working Hands Podcast as a collaborator on Instagram for your final post. So it's got to be finished. You can tag us all you want. We will share your progress posts, your progress stories, tag us in everything. The only time we want you to invite us as a collaborator is on your final post. That way it's in our feed. So we can't say, oh, we didn't see it. Right. Because hashtags are not easily, that they're not reliable anymore on Instagram. So it's the only efficient way for us to see what you do. So on your final, like when you're done with it and you're showing it off, that's the post we want to see as a collaborator.
Yes. And to add to that, Keith, because you and Tony will judge off that post. That you're tagged in. So,
so the way you can win is Tony and I have strict rules. We don't talk about each particular project with each other at all through the 3 months. We may say, hey, did you see the Mustache is making something? Okay, great. We may talk about it on the podcast, but we never give our true feeling about it to each other. And then what we do is we compile our list of the top 10 entries and his top 10. Any overlap gets put in a hat and the winner gets pulled out of that hat. That's how a winner is chosen.
I like it.
Yeah. So there's Jason down there said, if the collab tag, if it's at the start of your project, that counts as your collab. So be sure that it's with the finish project at the last post you do of that project. They're not requiring, like last year, they wanted 5 posts. They want just the finished product at the end, and you collab with them, and that's your entry. Like he said, just to reiterate, you can show them the whole process throughout the build and tag them.
We want to see the whole process. Absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody, even if you're not competing, they've said it too. It's great to show and push it out there so other people can see this, and they may want to enter. There's people that enter, you don't have to start it if it's not depending on what you're doing, they can come in the last month and build one. So it's good to put it out there to help the community, help the creator, get everybody involved, because it's a cool competition. I really like it. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but it's kind of fitting in with what I'm doing in my shop right now. So it's kind of like I'm going to do it. Who knows what'll happen, but
yeah, I mean, this particular one, you can kind of shoehorn in whatever project you're working on, right? Into this, because it's just 3 materials, right? I'd say 80% of our projects always have 2 materials. So if you have to add a third just to be able to enter, upsell your client, get another project done. That said, you can enter more than one project. It goes until March 30th. And if you get one done next weekend and want to enter one in February, that's fine too.
So how does that work?
More than one project.
How does that explain that? Because if they collab you, can they collab you on multiple finished projects then?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering how that would work.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be heartless on the collab. Like, if you collab with us early, like you meant to tag us and you collab with us instead, we're probably not going to accept that collab if it's not a finished project. Heaven forbid we do accept it by accident or something and it's in our feed, we'll probably let you know, hey, this isn't finished. This isn't your entry, right? So we're just looking for the collab post to be cohesive of all the finished projects. And it's not because we want us on your page or you on our page. It's really the only way to keep all the projects out there for everyone to see. And
'Cause it
for
was-
us to
had
have
to-
it all in one
Yeah.
spot. Now that
It had to
hashtags
be.
are gone.
It had to
Yep.
be heck the way that was last year because there was a lot of people there was a lot of videos going out. I know myself, I did quite a few.
Yeah.
So it was
There was a
tough
lot. Some people had over 50 posts last year.
I don't
That's a
know
lot.
what I ended up with, but I know I did
I think you were in the 40s. As I was tracking
Really?
every time somebody posted, yeah.
Oh,
I have a spreadsheet somewhere.
ooh.
and it helps you gain followers, people. It does work by you posting. It forces you to put, if you're wanting to put stuff out, I mean, everything's just putting it out there. It helps gain you, that algorithm likes it. And if you're trying to achieve followings, I mean, that's a good way to do it. Get your stuff out there and other people sharing and liking and whatnot. So it does help your platform out.
I will say
Do it.
it is bragging rights, right? If you win, the bragging rights are huge, right?
Oh yeah.
Against all your friends, against some other people, against people you didn't think you'd ever compete against. It's nice to be able to have those bragging rights that you won or got an honorable mention or something. But we do have prizes. We finally secured all the prizes. So they'll be announced on Wednesday's episode.
Oh, and you also said something about a special
Trophy?
something. I don't know if you can mention it. Have y'all finalized that? Is it,
No, we have talked
you know-
about it. We're talking about doing a trophy of some sort. I don't know if it'll be a plaque, a trophy, which will also go to the winner.
Nice.
It's not final yet, but yeah, something like that'll happen. So you'll be able to display it and taunt everyone in all of your future reels in the background of your shop.
So is that something that is just going to go and they get to keep it, or is that going to
Yeah,
actually?
I was thinking about one that would go around each year, but then you know how those things happen to try and let's just say Matt wins, right? The mustache. I send it to Matt. It's going to be one epoxy to his workbench in a day, and then two when we have to send it to the next guy. He may not be able to send it for whatever reason, or he could be a bad shipper like me.
Yep.
And not ship it out in time. So I think I'm just gonna make a trophy for each year and send it out.
Yeah. Or the next guy might not want the workbench with the trophy. So I mean,
That was a cheap shot, man. I apologize.
No,
Hey, Joey had it up his sleeve at some point.
I just couldn't fit it in. I was trying to fit it in somehow, but you beat me to the punch.
I mean, I like the idea of having it kind of like a Stanley Cup kind of thing, where like this team.
Yeah, I like
gets
that
it
idea
per year.
too, but I don't know if it
could. Yeah, that could be.
because we have
could be
people
a
that
pain.
compete from all over, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So international
be more
shipping
like-
could be a problem.
That would be something like you could display there on your background and just put like a name plaque on there every
Oh,
year.
like here.
Yeah, every year that there's
Yeah.
somebody gets their name put on it, and that's
Yeah.
for Working Hands Podcast to keep. And then maybe you make a plaque or something to send to the
Or a
winner.
miniature
you know?
version of that. Yeah. I got some ideas.
You know,
Yeah.
that it could be easy with those. You can. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say it. Keith was gonna bring it out of me, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna let it go. Anyhow.
Oh man.
I was fixing to go there. I didn't need to. But so have y'all had any, how many people are competing? Can you give us a number? Do you know how many are doing it yet? This is what's bad because I haven't seen anything. So I don't know. Last year you could be kind of nosy and not nosy, but you were seeing what people were doing,
Yeah. I mean, Tony last year had the 5 reel rule, which made it interesting because people started posting early.
Yep.
But a lot of people were scared after they saw some of the projects that were going in that were huge or just like extravagant. And people are like, I can't compete with that. So I think a lot of people are being shy this year. They're going to wait because the only requirement is that final one. So they could just say, oh, this is what I did for this month. You know, I don't know. I don't know how many people are participating. I do know that it's January 19th already, and I haven't started mine.
I'm right there with you.
So that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Well, we definitely know Mustachio's not going to go get anything tomorrow in his truck. So, you know,
hopefully he gets oil.
Project will be delayed. Yeah. Delayed one more day.
We'll see about that. I don't know. I think this little snowstorm might peter out. I don't think we're going to get as much as we thought.
We're supposed to be getting snow down here. 70% chance of snow.
When?
Send it back
down here, I think Tuesday night.
It's going to shut the whole state down.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make a fat snow angel.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it on Instagram. Hopefully my arms are long enough to
just bring some pieces of wood.
It's okay.
Some pieces of wood in your hand.
It's going to be more like a turtle, just these little. Joey down there making snow turtles.
Oh my God. Here we go. I bet I might have to rethink that. I may have to rethink that. Look, now I got my wife laughing down there. She'll record it too.
That's fantastic. You're never going to hear the end of Snow Turtles now, Joey.
That's how I'll title it. I will title it that. It may go viral.
What's the one down by you in Texas? Armadillos, right? Is that the little?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they got the little feet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Feet.
I think turtle sounds better though.
I think that'll go with it. That'll go a lot better. A mud angel?
Mud angels, we'll see, she said.
Oh, because it'll
melt. Because it's not going to snow.
They might call me something else if I'm laying in mud, but we might not want to go do that.
Yeah, moving on.
Let's keep the show Joey. Oh
man, I'm starting to sweat here. So anyhow, make what you fear.
Make what you fear, yeah. We hope you participate.
Yeah.
So we'll just I'm hoping that Mustache will get going on it, because I know Mr. Victor's over there. He probably already has it working, I would assume.
Yeah.
And he's
waiting for the Mustache to be like, I'm close, and then he's like, oh, are you? Video posted.
He's got like a newspaper in the background for like date.
Yeah.
He's like sitting there waiting. He's like, this guy, he already knows. I guarantee you that man's already got it.
Yeah.
Not trying to discourage you, Mustache, but you need to do it. You need to get it going.
Nothing to it but to do it, man.
I had to change my oil in my truck earlier, and my wood storage rack fell down. Not completely. It's like supported on stuff, and I couldn't get my oil filter off, so I had to like go and search for it in the shop. And I know I have one. I know I have one of the wrenches, and I went to move something, and the shelf kind of like started to shake a little bit and like was gonna fall all over. And I was like, okay, can't touch anything right there. Cool.
I like
And
how
now
you don't have
second
that,
wrench.
I like how you don't have that ADHD where you had to fix that shelf right away.
Oh,
Because if it were
gosh, that's-
me, I'd be halfway through my oil change fixing a shelf instead of going to look for the wrench.
well, I got to take all the lumber off from it, spread it all around the shop, and then remount everything new. And
I bet he does.
oh, yes, I do. I do, Matt.
He's good at mixing things. That's for sure. That is for sure. So are you going to do this out of walnut since you got so much, or what are we going to do? Because I'm going to push you on this. I'm going to push you because you're going to get this done.
I don't know, because I have some really thin pieces of wenge, and like, oh,
You know how you
no.
need to do this, Matt? You need to
What do you
glue
got?
up the panel, right?
Yeah.
Just one panel of walnut. Put it on your then working CNC
Oh,
and
I'm
router
gonna
in
go
all the
there.
squares that are going to get epoxy. And then you fill them. Think of how easy that is to get done.
Oh, trust me, that would be way easier than how I was thinking about doing it.
Yeah, well, I'm here for you, bud.
I do know a local woodworker that has an operating CNC also. So I could always cheat. Just
But
to do the squares.
You don't need to. You want it to be lined up and symmetrical, and it's on your CNC. So when you tie it down, then everything is square to your CNC. That's the whole point.
True. Yeah, I won't cheat.
It's procrastination there. Just do it. You can do it.
Hey,
You can do it.
Hey, we know I'm good at procrastinating.
I want you to give Mr. Prusa some competition there, bud. That's the whole point. Is that he's probably over there Cadillac. He's probably Cadillacing, and you're over here just
Oh, squirrel.
I think our nightly calls need to start becoming to where we're pushing you to make you do this project.
The CNC table is gonna. It should have been done like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, a lot should have been done out in that shop 3 weeks ago.
I'm not saying I don't procrastinate either, Matt. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I procrastinated a lot and ended up just going. I got so irritated with some jigs that I bought, and they're not working quite right. So I went back to the old school way to make some box joints on my Make What You Fear project.
Which
And now I'm
jigs
done.
are not working right?
Well, I'm going to say it because it's messed up. I bought this Wackerle box joint jig that goes on the router table.
Okay.
And the tolerance is in there on the piece that goes back and forth. It moves. And I didn't really pay close attention till I started doing it in my
in your table saw or in the
No. Oh no. It has a piece of MDF that has like melamine on top and bottom. And that actually mounts on the top of your router table. And then it has a plastic piece that travels forward and back. And that travel will take you over the router bit. Well, in the channels that are cut on that piece of wood with melamine on it that comes in the kit in the jig, it's got play. So as you're moving that deal through there, it moves, and that throws off your box joints.
Yeah.
And I don't know if
box joint jigs need to be dialed in.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know if that thing actually the MDF expanded while it was in my shop because of the moisture, humidity.
You would know.
Or if it's just a flaw. If it's just a flaw. And I was going to hit Wackerle up and say, hey, what's up? Because none of them fit. So I trashed that. And then I went to the dovetail jig, which I've got that kind of dialed in. I'm waiting on a dovetail bit because I think that thing is not well, the bits they sent are not made to use 3/4 inch material. And you need an 8-degree bit, so it all works. Anyways, so I kind of put that to the side, and I went and I put dado stack in the saw, and I went back to old school, making just a box joint jig off your miter gauge. And I whipped that out today, and I'm going to continue just using that. I mean, that's really all I needed it for, because the way I'm making it, I'm trying to incorporate some joints in the build, so that way they're seen, makes it, not just a 45 miter or something, that's any, I mean,
you're
that's
building
just
this for your hand tool cabinet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not cutting hand cut dovetails with the hand tools going in your hand tool cabinet?
Not yet, Keith.
I'm just asking. I'm not judging.
Inside part. I know where you're going with this. Yes, you are. You sure are. I know where you're going. And this is the one guy I didn't want to tell what I was doing, but I'm telling him.
I don't judge.
And when I started doing that, and this isn't me just saying this, I knew that when I told Keith that I was going to use a box joint jig, that I was going to catch hell from him because I wasn't using the hand tools for a hand tool cabinet. I knew he was going to be the first one. I knew it.
I was. But now that that's passed, I'm a big box joint fan. And I bought the iBox, the Incra iBox jig. I love that thing.
Yeah, Incra's good.
It's a little fiddly to get going, but once you're up and running, it's fine.
Fiddly how? Because I've looked at it before.
Just the first time you set it up, it takes a while, but once it's all set up for the whatever saw you're putting it on, it's dialed in for good. I mean, always do a test piece, and then it's got like a micro adjustment on there, like 1/1000th of an inch. You can adjust it if it's a little too tight or too loose, but it just makes box joints like effortless. It's great.
Yeah, because I noticed that box joint jig is not like very expensive. I mean, it's expensive, but it's not going to break the bank. A couple of $100, I think.
It's worth every penny. Yeah. I don't know about down by you, but up here I see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time. So
really, yeah, we don't see any of that kind of stuff down
here. Yeah, I'm a little more
the only thing you're
congested than where you're at.
Yeah, you'll run across a bandsaw here or there. Table saws are usually nothing to talk about.
Yeah. I have the Incra positioner like on my router table. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's like a 36-inch long thing that I can do box joints on that, or dados or whatever on my router table. And that's probably the better way to go for box joints or dovetails or whatever I wanted to do on my router table. And I go right to the box joint jig because it's so much easier.
Yeah, Red Leg brings up. I told Red Leg that because I get a lot of crap from people that I just keep stuff in the box and I don't use it. And I told him, yeah. I mean, I don't care. And I told him, I said, I bought these hand tools. It's just going to go on there so I could stare at them. I'm not going to actually use them. I would not dare to use something like that. They're just going to go stored in there.
You say that until you start using them and realize that sometimes for different tasks, it's faster than power tools.
Yeah, I'm going to use them, but for all the people that are out there that hate to see, because I've had DMs where they tell me I use the little DeWalt planer, and there was a few people that jumped out there quickly and were like, "Hey, I thought you bought a new planer." I said, "Yeah, it's still in the box."
Yeah, that happens.
I haven't had time. It'll get out when I'm ready to put it out there. It'll put it out there, But
yeah, I sold stuff that I still had in boxes for years And I'm like, oh, I got this brand new, like crazy stuff. So I'm the same way, Joey.
See, even my
But
my own co-host is giving me hell down in the chat. He's one of the biggest ones. he loves messing with me. What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something before.
Oh, I don't know. I don't.
Oh, but yeah, no, I'm gonna incorporate some stuff in within the inside. But you'll see when I get it out there. And I'm still not quite set because there was a little bit of tear out in what I did, because this was kind of just to see, kind of to mock it up on what I did. But I have thought about, and I have plenty of time. I could do some hand cut dovetails. It's not a big deal. I was just being kind of lazy too. But
You ever hand cut dovetails before?
I never have.
Once. One time.
I never have. I don't see it. It's just time consuming. I don't think I'll have an issue, but that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, I mean it's a skill that you always get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. That's not a skill I'm interested in. I've tried it. I've done it. I've tried to get better. For what? I don't like dovetail on the side of boxes anyway.
You don't?
Personally,
I
no.
think they look beautiful.
No. I prefer. Well, to me, a box is square, right? So I like the look of box joints.
Mm.
Equal size box joints on a box. It's just an aesthetic thing. Yeah, I know dovetails are stronger. They're great for like a drawer, because you're constantly pulling on it. But a box, you're not pulling on a box. You don't need it. That's my personal opinion.
Interesting.
I'd agree.
But we'll see what I can do with this project. There's a long ways. There's a lot of things that I want to do. Hopefully that I'll have the time to get it all done. The leather part, I still got to design the holders that I'm going to use in there, and utilize this laser back here to cut some stuff, but I can also hand cut it, so it's more hands-on than trying to use a machine.
Don't use chrome tan leather.
No, I'm using what do you call it? Veg tan. Yeah, I got a whole brand new side of a cow sitting in the closet over there that I got to utilize for something. So that's what it's going to get used for. And I'm also thinking of doing the actual handles. I've been searching. If I had I don't know if I have enough acetylene and oxygen. I was going to do the leather handles to open the doors. I was going to make them out of leather, but I wanted to incorporate some metal tabs on the end where they secure. So it's not just leather, because I think that'll look cheap. So I wanted to make some metal tabs that would cover that end of that leather. And you catch what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I need to see if I have enough oxygen and acetylene to get that done. So
you can do it with just a propane torch too.
But my stuff, what do you mean propane torch? Like just the one that one that go on the box?
Sure. Yeah.
I've never used that before.
So if you're just
like
doing like a small tab, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be real thick metal, right?
No, probably whatever I have. I have some pretty thin stuff in the back.
Yeah, propane torch is all you need. So if you don't have the oxyacetylene, don't worry about it. Just break out the propane torch and get it hot and bend it over. I use a propane torch for most stuff now. It may take a little longer to heat up, but it works.
because I wanted to carry it throughout the project, and I'm going to really look at that. Depending on time, in the corners where I make the doors, I wanted to do at least put some sort of metal there, so it'll kind of go with where the handles are, just kind of carries out through the project, and not just have it there, just some kind of so it's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know. I've got that kind of floating around in my head. I just need to put it down, and I've got all the metal. I just need to wait and it's nothing to go fill up some bottles. They're there.
Yeah, but if you're only doing small stuff,
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't waste your money on the map gas. That's false.
Is that the yellow? Is that the yellow bottle?
Yeah, they don't make real map gas anymore. So those bottles have some additive to the propane. So it's only like 200 degrees hotter than the propane. And then it's like 3 times the price. So it's not worth
Oh
it
wow. I haven't bought either of those in a really long time.
That's all I have is map gas, the yellow bottle.
Is it True Map or is it?
I bought it from.
It'd
Home
have to be
Depot,
pretty
so
old to be True Map. So
yeah, no, it's not old.
But yeah, once I learned that it's only
we got propane
100 or 200 degrees hotter, I just switched to just buying pure propane, and that works.
I'd have to rig up something which is not a big deal because I can run. We've got like those pair burners, which would probably work if you just put it directly on it to where it'll heat the metal up. A pair burner is like a long wand per se, and it has a bell housing on the end, and that's what you use to burn pear during the winter for the cattle. You burn all the whatever you call the pokey deals, and the cattle will eat the pear. It's good for them to eat, so it'll work.
Oh.
It would work just to heat it on metal. What were you gonna ask, Matt?
I don't. Yes.
Yes. So
Pear burner.
thorns. There you go. Thank you. Pear burner. It's called a pear burner. So that would probably work to heat the metal up. But I think I have enough oxygen and acetylene. I just got to pull the metal out from the back.
Yeah. Get yourself a pair of tongs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Tony said
Shape
the
it cold.
thin enough metal shaped it cold. Yeah. Because it needs to boxed. I don't want just like a piece to go on top of it. I want it to have, bend over the sides a little bit, and then the leather will side, So
depending on how thin it is, you could probably do that cold, easy.
So how could you color it? Like, what is there a solution? Because I know people have done that. Like, is there some kind of a mixture that you can dip it in?
A company called Jax, I believe, JAX. And they have all different types of and Tony's the better one to ask for this stuff, but like a blue, like a rifle blue. And then they have like a blackener to just make it go black. All sorts of different stuff like that. If you're going to use like brass, then they have just brass black that you can put on, and that'll darken up brass.
Okay.
So it depends on what material that you have as to which one you want. Let me just check that. I believe it's Jax, though, is the... And then there's the company that does... What's that?
Tony's in the chat. Maybe he'll answer back, too.
Yeah. Could you powder coat it?
Yeah.
Also, Joey?
Yeah, but I mean, it's more to give it that more authentic look is what I'm looking at. So it still kind of stays metal. But when I think about like hand tools and stuff, I kind of still think like kind of that rustic look, but not rustic. I need to explain this right. Kind of like
oh, there you go.
JX. So
okay.
just it's just like what Keith said. When you blew a rifle, when you blew a barrel, you can use that bluing solution that you put on there and it'll blue it. Just you got to go through the steps. It's kind of that, I don't want to actually paint it because nothing on there is going to be paint. It's all going to be just wood. It's just going to be the original color. I'm going to try to keep it, that color. I don't want to paint it, just throw a protective finish on it. So that being said, I would like the metal to kind of stay in that area too. And even it doesn't have to be perfect. If it has some hammer marks on it, even better,
Yeah.
I think that just adds to it. It'll
And
stand
then you
out
could
on
do,
top of that wood.
if you're using a torch to heat it up, you could do what the blacksmiths do. Like as it's hot, they put a little wax on it, and that would seal it up pretty good.
JR had a question for you, Keith.
Strongest material I've ever used to build with? It's a good question. I don't know. Probably some hardened steels or something. I don't know. A325 bolts, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, Tony just brought that up.
Let me put that in the chat.
Yeah, Tony said heat to a couple of 100 degrees and then coat with paste wax. I've never heard that before. Really?
Oh, it's a beautiful finish. Yeah.
So it just gives it like a glossy finish, or what does it look like?
It makes it feel a little softer, to be honest with you, because there's a little bit of wax on it. I'm sure that wears off. But like I have bottle openers I've done that way. I learned it from Tony. Yeah, so you get
it just kind of like it just melts off.
If it turns everything black, yeah, like Tony's saying now, but it melts in and it kind of puts a coating on the metal.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I've never heard that before. Now I want to try it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like when the blacksmiths are working and they take out that brush and they smack they get rid of all the forged scale?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it go like gray again, right? But they want that black, that whatever to be finished in black.
That patina.
They'll let it cool for a bit. And as it's cooling down to a couple 100 degrees, then they put the paste wax on and it smokes up. Not a lot of smoke, but it smokes up, melts right in. And then you're done. You don't touch it again. Just let it cool and you're done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it won't rust. I mean, that's like a forever thing, or is that will it eventually?
I mean, eventually, but for the life of what you're making now, it probably won't rust.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of bottle openers that I made and did that too. And that's all I've ever done. And they go outside in the summer, changes in weather, humidity, all that stuff, always around ice or whatever. And no rust, no nothing yet. And I've had those for like 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind. Paste wax. I'll write that down. If I do get to that point, I'd like to.
Yeah, the same paste wax you would use on your tabletops or whatever in the shop. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of that, because I won't use it paste wax. Yeah.
What's that?
I haven't had to use that, and it's such a treat. Even though that's how I used to treat all the cast iron. Now with that bow shield.
Yeah, that's what I use now. Bow shield. Yeah. I do use paste wax on something I'm not going to use for a while. Right. So if I'm done with my joiner and I know I'm not going to use it for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, I'll wax that up and leave it thick on there. That's the only time I use paste wax.
Yeah. Even the joiner, I did that joiner probably a couple of months ago, I guess, month and a half ago, a couple of months. Well, heck, it was before the holidays. And I've used it and I haven't had to. I mean, usually if I waited a week after just doing anything, this stuff would start rusting up, and it has not. And I've been using it, and I finally coated it 2 days ago just because I was coating that Powermatic saw. So I just went over it again. I went over everything, and man, that stuff's been holding up. I mean, it's great.
I can't remember the last time I put bow shield on my table saw or my bandsaw, and they're fine. Working great.
It was amazing. I'm like, man, this is some good stuff because it gets real humid out there. You can, and it's been awesome. I'm like,
it stinks though.
Yeah, when you're using that what is it called? The rust remover.
Oh yeah,
That
rust
stuff is
free.
rust, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That stuff is potent, and it's like, you should not be smelling that. It's got that distinctive smell where it's not good for you,
Yeah,
but
it's got something going
it
on
works. It works pretty dang good. But anyhow, heck, we're at that point now. Keith, any last thing you want to put in about Make What You Fear before we get out of here?
I hope you guys all participate. If you're hearing this, if you're watching this, I hope you participate. It's pretty simple this year, 8 cubic feet or less, 3 materials. If you listen to our podcast, you'll get more info on that, and then tag us as a collaborator on your final thing. That's all you got to do. It's pretty easy. You're probably already working on a project that does it. Thanks, Joey, Matt, for having me on. I definitely appreciate it. Thanks for the support in our little competition.
Absolutely.
Little. It's big. It's big.
I hope so. I hope
Huge.
So.
Yeah.
Mustachio, you got any last words?
No. I mean, I've said I was gonna participate the past 2 years. I think this year I'm finally gonna get the fire under my butt and get it done. I might break a procrastination streak and start it early, but we don't want to call that this quite yet. But to Keith's point, definitely jump in. If you're a beginner, if you're an expert, it does not matter your skill level.
Nope.
And who knows, maybe you'll spin a business off out of it like some prior competitors have. And yeah,
product lines have been launched on it.
Yep.
It's made a lot of people a lot of money. People have gained a lot of followers on it. Joey.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah. We don't need to talk about my project, that little project.
Such a small project.
Such a small project. But anyhow, thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate it. This is our first show back. We're going to get going with this show. Hopefully we can keep it going, and we're going to get some new guests on here. Have a good time. If you feel it in you to support us, we still got to go in and tweak. We're going to have some cool things coming in on our Patreon. Head on over to Patreon/Creative Makers Podcast and give us some support if you feel it in you. If not, we will be here every Sunday from now on, 7 p.m. Central Time, because that's the only time that matters. We go on Texas time, even though these Eastern guys don't believe that. But, that's the way it's going to be. So
the world runs on Eastern Standard Time, just so you know.
But in my world, it runs on Texas time, baby. That's what it does. That's what we go by. Texas time. It's all that matters in my head. You can just give me that, But anyhow, thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Next week, we'll see you. We're going to try to get this show out. So make sure you go on to our podcast platforms and listen to it, download it, share it with your friends. We want to get this out there. We want to support Keith and Tony, Working 10 Podcasts. Get involved. Go make something. Make some sawdust. Make some metal. Make some sparks. Whatever you do, but just don't stick your stuff to the table. On that note, we'll see you next week.